And beginning to bring the awareness to the breath, beginning to deepen the breath. And for you to bring right hand to belly, left hand to chest or heart. Exhale, fully press the belly in, exiting the air out through the nostrils. Inhale, expand the belly, the rib cage, the collarbones rise. Exhale, collarbones lower, chest lowers, belly slowly deflate. And continue to breathe slowly and deeply at your own pace. And breath, perhaps breathing into an internal spaciousness. On the out breath, consider sending that breath, allowing that breath to reach or touch any parts of you that are feeling nervous or afraid or anxious about anything in your world or in your children's world. This could be a part of you that's concerned about your own life somehow, finances, vocation. It could be part of you that's concerned about someone's health, whether it's a partner or a parent. And there might be a motherhood part of you that's feeling scared, or concerned, or has worries or fears about your children and their future ahead. On the in-breath, breathing into that inherent spaciousness. On the exhalation, sending the breath to the one within you who's carrying some fear right now. And just letting that breath touch that place of fear. So it's not so alone in there. We see it, we hear it, there's space for it. And we're touching it with the spaciousness of our out breath. Maybe that out breath could carry some sort of a sentiment like, it's okay to be scared. I'm right here with you. And after the next long, slow exhalation, you can return the breath back to normal. And bring both hands to the heart, gently bowing the head down to the openness of the heart. Taking a moment to acknowledge and to celebrate that divine spark of life and light that rests deep, deep within you. See that light within you and bow to it humbly. And take a moment to acknowledge and to celebrate that divine spark of life and light that rests within each of your children. See that light within them, this divine light that will carry them forward and guide them on, even when they're away from us, even when we're gone. See that light within them and bow to it humbly. There is divine wisdom flowing through them, always. Take a moment to acknowledge and to celebrate that divine spark of life and light that rests within all beings everywhere without exception. Slowly lifting the head, cupping the hands out in front, and just take a moment to imagine holding the light of hope in your hand. Hope for our children and their journeys ahead. Hope for ourselves and our journeys ahead. And fan the arms out to the side, thumbs back, rock the hips forward, lift head, neck, and chest, opening to the light of hope, opening to the power of hope. Hope is powerful. Breathing in the power of hope. It's powerful for our children to look up at us, or for some of us down at us now, and see us looking back at them with the light of hope in our eyes. For them, no matter what they're going through, no matter what difficulties they're facing, no matter what darkness they're moving through. So just take a moment and open to the light of hope in relationship to your children, to our child, to our children. Take a nice deep breath in and exhale, round the back, tuck the chin, interlock the thumbs, and dive down. Diving down into the dark, being willing to be with the parts of ourselves that are afraid in the dark, that carry fears and concerns about our children, and dive down deep into the dark to be with those parts of ourselves so they're not alone. And opening up to the light of hope, we don't want to repress our fears. We don't want to make them feel like they're bad in any way. It's okay, they're there, and we can be with them, and we can talk about them with each other. But it is helpful to keep these fears from our children. Rotate the palms up, bring the arms back, rock the hips forward, lift head, neck, and chest. Take a nice deep breath in, opening to the light of hope for our children. And exhale, round the back, tuck the chin, dive the arms forward, bowing down, diving in to be with the parts of ourselves that have fears about our children. Naturally, we will. Inhale, opening up to the light of hope for our children. May we show this to them. May we bring this to them more. And exhale, round the back, tuck the chin, diving in to be with our fears about our children, which we won't share with them, if possible. And continue at our own slow breathing pace. Just weaving our hopes and fears together with one full round of breath for a wholeness. The importance of opening to the light of hope, and the importance of being with our fears, connecting with our fears, processing our fears, so our fears are less likely to leak out onto our children. Good. After the next full exhalation, taking your time, you can come back to center, eventually cupping the hands out in front, closing the eyes, and holding the light of hope for our children. Holding the light of hope for anyone who's moving through sickness or illness or injury in our lives, through difficulties. Holding the light of hope for ourselves. And bring the hands to the heart and just tuck that light of hope into our heart. And you can bring the hands onto the earth, coming onto the hands and knees. And we can round the back, tuck the chin, tucking the tailbone under, bowing down. Just pause there for a few moments. I have to put on Do Not Disturb because I just had a call come through. I apologize. There we go. Okay. So rounding here and then lifting head, neck, and chest. Bring the buttocks up, opening to the light of hope. Looking up, even bringing the eyes to the top of the vision is helpful. Looking up. Take a nice deep breath in, opening up to the light of hope. And exhale around the back, tuck the chin, looking down, going down deep into the fears to be with them so they're not alone. Inhale, lifting head, neck, and chest, opening up to the light of hope for our children. Exhale, round the back, tuck the chin, bowing down to our fears, tending to them, processing them. And continue at your own slow breathing pace. Just a few more rounds. Good. After the next full exhalation, you can pause. And just rest into extended child's pose with the arms out in front. As you rest in child's pose, really allowing ourselves to rest onto the earth as mother, relaxing onto Mother Earth, always there for us, no matter what we're thinking or feeling, no matter what fears are moving through us. He's there to hold us. Just take a moment to open to the healing energies of the earth, and to be received and held by those healing energies. And take a nice deep breath into them. Open mouth, exhalation. Energetic composting. Good. Deep breath into the healing energies of the earth. Open the mouth for some energetic composting. Deep breath in. And open the mouth for some energetic composting. And extend the arms forward, shift the weight into the hands, coming up onto all fours. And then melt the hips forward, moving towards our modified upward dog. Hips melt forward, lifting head, neck, and chest. If you'd like, you can lift the knees up off the earth. Otherwise, keep the knees down for a little less intensity in the back. Opening the chest up to the light of hope. Opening the eyes up to the top of the vision, looking up. Take a nice deep breath in, opening up to the light of hope for our children. And exhale, press back into child's pose or curl the toes under and lift the hips up high for downward facing dog. Taking a few moments to bow down to our fears, to acknowledge them. As we acknowledge them, we unblend from them a little bit. As we acknowledge our fears and relate to our fears and can be there with our fears, it gives us a little bit of loving distance to befriend them. And befriended fears are much less likely to fully take over us. So we unblend from our fears to befriend them, not to repress them, to befriend them and help them process more fully, to listen to them like a friend does. So with the breath, inhale, come forward and up towards upward dog, opening up to the light of hope for our children. Exhale, rock back into child's pose or downward dog, bowing down to the fears we have about our children. Inhale, rocking forward, opening up to the light of hope for our children and loved ones. And exhale, rock back, bowing down to the fears we understandably will have about our children or loved ones. And continue at your own pace. On the out breath, bowing down to those fears we'll understandably have about our friends or loved ones, especially when they're moving through a dark night, especially when they're feeling sick, ill, or injured, especially when they eventually have their hearts broken. We'll have fears about, and it's helpful and important for us to unblend from those fears, befriend those fears, listen to them, process them again and again and again so they don't leak out onto our children. We do this out of deep, deep love for ourselves and our loved ones. After the next full round, you can pause, resting back into child's pose, taking a few breaths to integrate. Good, deep breath in to the light of hope. Open mouth, exhalation, energetic composting. Bring the arms alongside the legs and slowly lift the torso up, lifting the body all the way up to standing. Walking towards the front of the mat for the sun salutations, just a few very slow, gentle rounds. Very, very slow the first round. First, just making some contact with the earth. So noticing all of the energy that might be swirling around our heads and our minds, the thinking, planning energy. Just drawing that energy down into the body, into the belly, into the legs, into the feet, grounding and rooting, sending energetic roots deep down and out like redwood trees for each other, connecting with each other like a supportive network of sisters on this journey of motherhood, there for each other and helping each other grow towards the light. And from that grounded, rooted place, lengthening up through the legs, the trunk of the tree, up through the spine, blossoming open into the heart, palms rotate forward, crown of the head reaching skyward, referred to in some cultures as the axis mundi, connecting heaven and earth through our being, both deeply grounded and vastly open at the same time. And unite the palms together in front of the heart. And extend the arms out to the sides and up, and pause here for a few breaths, opening up to the light of hope. We can lift our gaze to look upward towards the sun, opening up to the light of hope, opening up to the power of hope, opening up to the power of hope, which helps our children when they feel it from us. Our faith in them, our belief in them matters. And they will feel it in the field and it will nourish them. Take a nice deep breath in to the light of hope, arching back with it. Yes, and exhale, hinge forward, bow down. Feel free to softly bend the knees like I am for a humble forward fold. Nowhere to get to, nowhere to go, nothing to accomplish, just surrendering to the gentle force of gravity. And as we bow down, we can bow down to our fears. And we unblend from them to befriend them. We can say to them, will you give me a little breathing space, my dear fears? Will you give me a little breathing space so I can be with you? So we can breathe together. So I can be with you and listen and know you better. Like a snowflake on our eyelashes, it's hard to be with our fears when they're blended with us. So we take the snowflake off our eyelash and to our finger, and we can bring it out just a little distance in front so we can see it better, get to know it more. Like that. Bend the knees, fingertips in line with the toes, step the left foot far back, left knee raised or lowered, lifting the head, neck, and chest, and take a few deep breaths. Lifting the gaze up slightly. It doesn't even have to be all the way up. Just a slight gaze upward, looking up. This hope, this faith, this belief in our children nourishes them, and it nourishes us, and it nourishes them. It's an essential ingredient in the human condition. We need hope to thrive. Take a nice deep breath in, that light of hope, and exhale, right foot back, downward dog or plank. Or you can move onto all fours if you're tired here. Just taking a few moments to bow down to your fears. So often our fears will take over us, blend with us, take over us, and we speak from our fears. And understandably, we end up communicating to our children that we're really worried that we're really afraid that if they continue to do X, Y, and Z, then A, B, and C will happen. And that's our concerns about them. And it can be so helpful to notice that tendency. It's conventional wisdom, it's conventional parenting. We all do it, we'll all do it again. So just really want to normalize that tendency to speak from the fear. And if we can notice that place of fear, we can speak for it instead of from it. And we can speak for it with our friends or our partners or a therapist. And we can bring the light of hope to our children. It'll get easier and easier to do these things that will help you and benefit you in the future. Instead of, I'm concerned that if you keep watching screens all the time, you're going to be addicted to them, we can say, I know it's hard to stay off your screens. It's going to get easier and easier to control those impulses, and it's going to benefit you so much when you figure that out. Same message, but it's where it comes from that matters. From here, we can come forward and up into Cobra or Upward Dog, transitioning maybe into Cobra, laying on the belly, squeezing shoulder blades towards each other, lifting head, neck, and chest, and gazing up slightly, just a little bit, looking up. So I call this painting a positive path forward for our children. Noticing the tendency to paint the scary future for them, which doesn't tend to help them that much. The scare tactics don't tend to work well, and they can create a kind of self-fulfilling prophecy for them. So instead, we paint the positive path forward. We process our fears on our own so we can bring the light of hope to our children. A nice deep breath in, looking up, Holding hope, and exhale, press the hands down, lift the hips up high, downward facing dog. Taking a moment to be with our fears, to befriend them, to understand them, to reassure them that we're right here. And other parts of us might judge the fact that we have these fears, but we, our deep, wise, loving selves, we can be here with our fears without judgment, with deep care and compassion. Look between the hands, step the left foot forward between the hands, right knee raised or lowered. Melt the hips forward, lift the chest, opening up the gaze, looking slightly up, opening up to the light of hope, the power of hope that nourishes ourselves as we touch into it, as we feel into it, and that deeply, deeply benefits our children when they sense it from us. They don't even have to hear it, they can sense it. The power of hope. Take a nice deep breath into it. And exhale, step the back foot forward to meet the front foot. Going down, tuning in. Being with our fears just as they are. The courage to go down into the dark, to be with the fears that rest there. And from here, we can extend the arms out to the sides, lifting the torso up, lifting the arms up, opening up to the sun, opening up to the light, opening up to the rays of hope within us. And embodying that hope. There is hope. The future has not happened yet. There is always hope. In internal family systems, we call it being a hope merchant. For our clients, being a hope merchant for each other. I will hold hope for you, especially when it's hard for you to hold it yourself. And I hold the hope that one day you will be able to hold the light of hope for yourself again. But until then, I'll hold it for you. And you can tell me all about how little hope you feel. I'm going to hold hope for you. Take a nice deep breath in, arching up and back, imagining holding hope for our children when they're lost in the dark. And exhale, unite the palms and slide the hands down to the heart. And with the breath, exhale fully. Inhale the arms out to the sides, up and back, opening to the light of hope. Yes, and exhale, hinge forward, bow down, bowing down to our fears, just as they are. Inhale, right foot back, lifting head, neck, and chest, opening to the light of hope. Yes, exhale, left foot back, downward dog, or plank, bowing down to our fears. Inhale, come forward and up into cobra or upward dog, opening to the light of hope. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot forward, opening to the rays of hope. Exhale, left foot forward, bowing down the fears that are resting in the dark. Inhale, arms up and back, opening to the rays of hope. And exhale, palm to the heart. Inhale, arms up and back, opening to the light of hope. And exhale, bow down to our fears that rest there in the dark. Inhale, left foot back, opening up to the light of hope for our children. Exhale, right foot back, bowing down to the fears that are there in the dark. Inhale, come forward and up, opening up to the light of hope for our children and our loved ones. Yes, exhale, downward dog, bowing down to the fears that move through us. Inhale, left foot forward, opening up to the light of hope. And exhale, right foot forward, bowing down to the fears. Inhale, lifting the torso up, opening up to the light of hope. And exhale, palms to the heart, and just pause here, bearing witness, noticing whatever's there for you right now with so much kindness, so much care, with the depth of compassionate presence. Gently noticing what's there, bringing your hands onto your heart, symbolic gesture of compassion for whatever's there. You can softly open the eyes and step the right foot back about 3 feet, moving towards warrior one pose, so you can have that right foot kind of like on railroad tracks with the feet, right toes pointing out to the right at a 45-degree angle. Hands can stay on the heart for now. Bend the left knee. The left knee is above the left ankle. Pressing back into the right toes. You can decide to step the right foot back a little further for more activity, or closer for more gentleness. We're going to be here a little while, so if it gets tiring, just step that back foot forward. And begin to extend the arms forward and up, opening up to the light. Good. And then together, grounding our feet down in this warrior pose, finding the courage to call our power back, the power of hope. And we can say out loud, I call my power back to me. I call my power back home. I call back my power. Take a nice deep breath in. And exhale, fully swim the arms back behind you. Interlace the fingers, squeeze the shoulder blades towards each other. Lift the heart up, opening your heart up to the power of hope. Take a nice deep breath into it. Yes, and exhale, straighten the front leg, hands onto the left thigh. And bow down. And just integrate. Good. Bend that left knee and step the back foot forward to meet the front foot. Both knees bending, you can roll the back up. Inhale, shoulders forward and up. Exhale, shoulders back and down. Good. Bringing hands back onto the heart, close the eyes and just take a moment to integrate. Hands on the heart as a symbolic gesture of touching whatever is there with kindness and care. Gently open the eyes. Step the left foot back about 3 feet. A little more for more activity, a little less for more comfort and ease. Left hip pressing forward. Bend the right knee over the right ankle. Left pinky toe pressing down. Good. And from here, you can extend the arms forward and up, grounding down into the feet here in Warrior One pose. Calling our power back, and feel free to repeat after me. I call my power back to me. I call my power back home to me. Power, come back to me. Take a nice deep breath in and exhale. Lower the arms down. Swim the arms back behind you. Interlace the fingers. Squeeze the shoulder blades towards each other, arching back, opening the heart up to the power of hope. It's powerful. Take a deep breath into it. Yes. And exhale, straighten the front leg. Hands onto the thigh. And hinge forward from the hips, bowing down. Integrating, digesting. Good. Bend the right knee, step the back foot forward to meet the front foot, and both knees, and roll the back up. Inhale, shoulders forward and up. Exhale, shoulders back and down. Beautiful. Bring the hands back to the heart, and we'll just pause and notice. Just taking time to be with what's there. And we can gently open the eyes, lower the hands down, and press the arms back behind us. Bend the right knee, bring the right big toe to the floor. Some of us will stay here. Others will hover the toe above the earth and lower it down as many times as we need to regain stability. And others of us will lift the right knee. Some of us might even extend the right foot forward a little bit or a lot. Then we're going to bend the right leg and send the right leg back, moving towards Warrior Three pose. Send the right foot back. The right big toe can rest on the earth. Arms can come forward alongside the ears. Some of us will stay here. Others will hover the right big toe above the earth and lower it down as many times as is needed. And the rest of us will hinge forward from the hips, lifting that right leg up and flowing in between these two positions. Inhale, arms back, pull the right knee forward as high as you'd like to. And exhale, send the right leg back, arms forward, Warrior Three. This is challenging, so modify as needed. Inhale, arms back, right knee forward. Feel free to keep the big toe on the floor. Exhale, arms forward, leg back. Feel free to keep the big toe on the floor. A few more rounds at your own pace. Embodying the energy of the warrior and the power of hope the peaceful warrior carries within her. After the next exhalation, you can lower the foot all the way down next to the left foot. And then just pause, shaking out the arms and legs and any tension that might have developed in the body from all of that concentration. And shaking the body, shaking the arms, shaking the legs. It's a really beautiful way to process some of our fears. So we might have gotten a little bit of fear of falling through that. So just shake out the fear of falling, the fear of imperfections, the fear of not doing it right. And then find stillness, bring hands to heart, close the eyes if you're willing, and just be with yourself and what's there for a moment now. And gently open the eyes. Release the arms down, press the arms back behind us. Bend the left knee, left big toe to the floor. You might have a different experience of balance on this side, and see if you can just notice it as different instead of judging it as good or bad, better or worse. It's just different. Just a different experience on this side. So either stay here or lift the knee up, maybe straighten the leg a little bit or all the way. Inhale and exhale, send the left leg back, arms alongside the ears, and either stay at an angle with the left big toe touching, or you can hinge forward from the hips. Warrior three pose. Inhale, arms back, pull the left knee forward, maybe lift the left foot up. Exhale, left leg back, arms forward and up. And continue at your own pace. Holding the light of hope and faith in ourselves that we'll find our way through this difficult moment on the mat. And we'll use resources along the way if needed. The earth as our resource is there for us if needed. After the next exhalation, you can lower the foot all the way down next to the right, taking your time. And then shake everything out. Arms shake, legs shake, shoulders, feet, shaking out any tension and fear that accumulated during the intensity of that practice. Fear of falling, fear of failure, fear of making mistakes. Shake it off. And bring the hands to the heart to be with any of those fears if they need some befriending. There's neuroscience is showing us that as we talk to ourselves, it activates the social neural circuitry in the brain. As we relate to ourselves, it activates the social circuitry in the brain. The way we relate to ourselves matters. So just see if you can be with the fears, befriending them, tending them. The tend and befriend response to stress is powerful. It helps secrete oxytocin. That helps to counteract cortisol, the stress hormone. When we tend and befriend, it matters. It helps. But take a nice deep breath in to this tend and befriend response to our fears. And exhale, slide the hands down to the belly, down the thighs, hinging forward from the hips. And bring the hands to the floor, walk the feet back and downward dog. Lower the knees down and lay the belly all the way down onto the earth. You can relax with the cheek to one side, arms alongside the body. Advasana, relaxation pose on the abdomen. Just letting ourselves be supported by Mother Earth. As we surrender into the healing energies of the earth more fully and let ourselves be held and supported by them. Take a nice deep breath in and allow for long, slow exhalation. And bring the forehead to the earth. Lift the head, neck, and chest. Lift the arms alongside the legs. You can lift the legs and feet. Some of us will stay here. Others may interlace the fingers behind the back and reach the hands back towards the feet. Gaze might look up just slightly, opening up to the light of hope, opening up to the power of hope. A nice deep breath in, opening up, and the exhale, gently release down. And place the palms facing under the shoulders, pressing up onto all fours. And then you can press back into child's pose. And either bring the arms out in front or you can bring the arms alongside the legs if you prefer. Just resting for a moment, resting and digesting. Good. Take a nice deep breath in. Open the mouth. Bring the hands next to the legs. Lift the torso up. Slowly rising. And bring the legs gently out in front. And the knees softly. Bring the hands onto the earth back behind you. Rock the hips forward, lift the head, neck, and chest for a little mini back bend. You can bend the elbows, opening the chest and the heart up to the light, holding the light of hope in our hearts. Take a nice deep breath in. And exhale, hinge forward from the hips, bowing down, tuning in. And as we rest inwardly, I'm going to share with you an experiment. And it's a challenging experiment because it was done, a while ago and certain ethical guidelines weren't in place, but it's very illuminating. So I feel called to share it with you. So in this study, they were studying the idea of depression, or what's called learned hopelessness, learned helplessness, kind of giving up, feeling so defeated. There's no point, we give up, as a model of depression in us as humans. And they used these buckets of water with mice. And they had the mice in the water, and mice can't swim, but they can kind of tread water a little bit. So mice they found would basically tread water for about 15 minutes on average, and then they would give up. And if they were left in the water, they would die, but they would be taken out of the water. What's interesting is that after the first time, if they were put in the water again, they wouldn't try for 15 minutes. Just think, would they try less or would they try more? Turns out that if they had almost essentially died and an experimenter took them out of the water, the next time they were put back in the water, even if they were tired, they would tread water for 60 hours. 60 hours. Before knowing there's any hope, they would die after 15 minutes. They would give up and would most likely die after 15 minutes. But with hope, they could tread and tread and tread for 60 hours on average, again and again and again. They saw this. That's the power of hope. Hope is essential for us to thrive. We need hope to keep going. And those mice didn't know that the experimenter would save them, but just having some sense of hope kept them going. So gently lift the torso up, lifting the arms up, grounding down through the sits bones as we open our arms up to the light of hope. The future has not unfolded yet. There is hope. There is always hope. There is always hope. And just taking a moment to open up to higher self, higher power, whatever it is you call to and know. And just ask for some support for you to tap into hope in your life, on your journey with your friends and your loved ones. Hope for your children, and that they too may tap into the power of hope. Take a nice deep breath in, calling on higher self, higher power for some support around that. And exhale, bend the knees, lean back a little bit, bring the arms up to the sides, and send each other that wish, that prayer, that you, loving mamas, may tap into the light of hope, and that your children may tap into the light of hope for themselves, and that your children may see the light of hope reflected towards them in your eyes. Beautiful. Slowly, slowly roll down. Hug the knees into the chest and gently rock. Just receiving those wishes from each other. Receiving that support for ourselves and for our children to tap into the light of hope, especially when we're lost in the dark, especially when we bump up against that 15 minutes when we could give up fully. May we find a light of hope that keeps us going. And may we model the light of hope for our children. May we reflect it back to them through our eyes, to their beingness. So you can bring the arms out to the sides, fanning the arms, opening the wings of the heart. Knees towards the chest for flowing twist. You can inhale here, exhale, knees to the left, head rolls heavy on the floor to the right. Inhale, knees to the chest. Exhale, knees to the right, head rolls heavy on the floor to the left. And continue at your own slow breathing pace. And after the next full round, you can pause. Very gently moving into our final relaxation practice. Bringing the legs up the wall. Or you can lift the legs up onto a chair, onto the bed. Or you can just recline on the mat in Shavasana if you prefer. We'll be tensing and releasing the major muscle groups with the breath. Take a nice deep breath in, scrunch up the face, make fists with the hands, point the toes, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze the tension on the body. Good. Deep breath in, open the mouth, stick out the tongue, stretching the jaw, open the eyes, play fingers, stretch toes. Actively relaxing, actively releasing, actively surrendering the supportive, healing qualities and energies of the earth. And begin to visualize or sense or feel a beautiful light surrounding the body in all directions. Beautiful, warm, healing light. Bring the awareness to the light that rests near the soles of the feet. And invite this light into the feet, feeling the ankles relax. The calves and shins are softened and soothed. And this light moves up into the knees, creating warmth and space there. Invite this light up and the upper legs, feeling both legs growing heavy and warm. This light shines into the hips, pouring into the pelvic area, pouring into the reproductive organs, harmonizing, balancing them, filling them with radiant, glowing health and vitality. Visualize the light and the darkness of the womb. This beautiful light shines through the digestive organs, cleansing and purifying them. This light shines into the chest, pouring into the heart. Visualize the heart radiating the infinite glow of loving kindness in all directions, including towards your own dear self, particularly towards yourself. Feel the loving light from your own dear heart shining itself softly upon you. Bring the awareness to the light that rests in the hands, bathing them in warmth. And invite this light into the hands, feeling the fingers and wrists relax. This light shines into the elbows, the forearms, and the upper arms. Beautiful light shines into the shoulders. Feel the shoulders relaxing. Warm light moves into the neck, softening and soothing the neck muscles. And bring the awareness to the light that rests near the very base of the spine. And invite this light up the spine, vertebra by vertebra, part by part. And feel the entire back growing warm and relaxed and healed by this light. This light moves freely up the spine, moves up into the neck, into the throat. The tongue softens, the lips are warm. The cheekbones and the jaw relax. The jaw is completely relaxed. Ears, the nose, and the eyes are all filled with the most beautiful light. And the eyelids grow heavy. Temples, the eyebrows, and the center of the forehead relax. The center of the forehead is completely relaxed, and the entire face becomes expressionless. Sides of the head, the back of the head, and the crown of the head are all filled with light. And the entire body, the entire being is filled with and emanating the most beautiful, warm, healing light. Just be a witness to this light that's in you and around you and with you always. Om. Om. Very gently invite the awareness back to the breath. And take a deep, rich breath in and allow for long, slow exhalation. Gently invite the awareness back to the physical body, gently re-inhabiting the physical self. Eventually rolling all the way over onto one side. And just pause there for a moment's rest, just curling up sweetly with yourself. Press the hands into the earth, lifting the body up to seated into a comfortable seated position, closing the eyes. Checking the posture. I'm hearing someone's sound came on. It's okay. I just want to make sure you know your sound's on. Checking the posture and then rotate the palms up. You can repeat after me. I call my power back from all people, places, and situations in which I have intentionally or unintentionally given it away. I call my power back from all that is consciously or unconsciously draining or siphoning my energy. I call back my power from all realms and dimensions, seen and unseen. Power, come back to me. Power, come back to me. Power, come back to me. So shall it be. Gently bring the hands to the heart. In a moment to sit with the power of hope. And in honor of the light of hope, we offer ourselves and each other, our children and all beings, a deep humble bow and namaste. Namaste. Thank you, loving mamas, for being together this morning. We'll hold the light of hope together. Wish you all a beautiful day. And I'll see most of you back in about 3 minutes. Bye. Mm.